Hey guys, Deathletter Magic here, and I haven't heard so much stupidity and misinformation since the 2016 election. Okay, so I'm not going to name any names, but some other famous MTG personalities seem to not know what the hell they're talking about. And by the way, I am going to name names, I was just kidding. Travis, memes are so funny, woo, suggested that they errata cards instead of banning them. To be fair, he's been playing long enough that he remembers when they used to do this. So here's how they do it, okay? It's like a rebalancing that would happen if they could remotely modify your cards. The problem with this is they're paper and they can't do that. So errata means that they either make a ruling that wasn't specified on the card, or since that's usually just a card ruling, it's way more commonly changing something or adding something to a card. I think one example I heard about, I think this was the one that happened, a bunch of creatures that were pretty clearly dinosaurs have been errated to be dinosaurs. So they were printed like 10 years ago or whatever, and Wizards is like, okay, if you want to play like Commander or modern dinosaurs, we're making this a dinosaur subtype, even if it doesn't say dinosaur on the card. And then if somebody complains about it, they're like, that's not a dinosaur. You look it up online and verify it. Oh, it was added retroactively. I don't know. After the fact? Like exactly the opposite of retroactively. But also sort of retroactively depending upon your point of view. And if it sounds like errata on a card makes a problem on par with time travel because it sounds like it, yes, that is absolutely correct. So here's the problem. Travis was making the argument, which sounds correct on its face, but apparently didn't put much thought into this. He said, when somebody pulls a card out, they're like, this was in a standard pack, I pulled it out, it's a toon, it's not even a rare mythic. And then you have to explain to them a toon is banned. You can no longer play it. And then you got to look it up a smartphone and show it to them and be like, look, see, it's banned. He said that's as complicated as, which this is common for the errata, change the cost of a spell. So something that just like shuts down energy like Solemnity, they would say, okay, Solemnity is now errata, it costs 2. It's 1 white and 1 generic. So instead of costing 3, it costs 2. So hopefully that'll help shut down energy because now the counter for it is better, which that's like the worst way to handle it. It's just an example. We didn't need counters, so it's rock, paper, scissors. We needed a power down for energy. So not the best example, but that's just one of the errata options they would have. So now every single time I go fetch that card out of my deck, it says 3, but I got to think 2. Every time I play it, it says 3, but I got to think 2. Every time somebody interacts with it or does something with the cost or just anything, devotion, whatever, it's 2 instead of 3. I just have to remember that over and over and over and over and over in every game, every action. And just to even remember that your cards are not correct as printed, it's just stupid. It's one time like, oh, this is illegal, throw it out of my deck, rip it up, okay, done, replace it with something else. Okay, it's done, it's over with, you have fixed the problem. That requires one fix. Every time you look at the card or cast the card or do anything with the card, if they reduced it from 3 to 2, you have to remember that over and over and over and over. And some people would just go get a Sharpie. But I do believe that in formal tournament play, you are not allowed to mark anything on a card outside of the artwork. So you can actually draw all over the artwork, which is very strange. Or if you have a signed card, you could run that, but it cannot go outside the border and cover up or modify any of the card text or the cost or subtype or type or anything remotely important. So if you cross it off as a little reminder to yourself, theoretically, that's not a legal card. Even though like you errated it after they errated it, you just are responsible for remembering it by yourself. And by playing a card that is not correct as printed, you're basically misrepresenting the game state to your opponent and hoping that they remember that card was changed. And forget standard, 10 years from now, people are going to have to remember it, unless it only applies to standard. But then it's like Solemnity. Okay, what format am I playing? In Commander, it's 3, but in Standard, it's 2. No, Travis, this is the stupidest idea I've ever heard in my entire life. They should not errata things. It's confusing as crap. It would just outline the fact that digital platforms are way better because they can just snap their fingers and change the artwork and change the cost. And paper magic, they can't. Once they've printed it, it's over with. That's it. So considering that is a law of physics that physical objects cannot be altered once they have been sent to the customer, then they're just going to have to leave them that way. What they should do is stop printing overpowered garbage that can't be interacted with. That would be lovely. Stop printing, Aetherworks Marvel. Everybody saw that card and they're like, this is a disgusting disgrace to the game. And it turns out, yes, it pretty much ruined the entire standard meta until they just had to get rid of it, and it took 2 ban cycles for them to admit that they were wrong. I mean, that's just utterly ridiculous. Next, let's get MTG Lion's take on it, where he says, oh my god, they did it again. They've killed people's wallets. Okay. A tune with Aether, 25 cents currently. Now, I know currently versus 3 days ago, there might be a little change there, but come on. Rogue Refiner, 59 cents. Wow, I only recall that card hitting $1.80. Oh, the Jedi are feeling such a disturbance in the wallet force. Are you kidding me? I'm pretty sure Lion's rich ass has 59 cents. Ramonap Runes, 49 cents. I don't think that at any point that ever exceeded $1.50. Rampaging Ferocidon, the rare, oh my god, the only rare in it, and very few people were actually playing this in their decks, maybe their sideboards, $2.29. I seriously doubt that this ever exceeded $3 or $4. And it's a very commonly known fact that there were not 4 of these in the main board when people played Ramonap Red, so you can't just multiply by 4. So worst case scenario, $10. So no, they didn't destroy a whole lot of value. Okay, this is not, Emrakul and Smuggler's Copter, which were actually legitimately worth a lot of money. And actually, they still kind of are worth a lot of money. So it's not like you took like a $8 card or whatever and just killed it 0 now. No, they took like, well, Emrakul was maybe, 16? I think she's like 11 now or something. And it's not even that big of a fall. I mean, you wait long enough, any card will do that. So if you're actually playing with it in Standard, you lost the money anyway because you sell it 4 weeks before the cycle and it's going to be worth half anyway. I mean, Drana, Deck and Stone, look what happened to those prices right before rotation. Nothing good. So now his other argument is, oh my god, they're just trying to sell cards. Yes, they are absolutely trying to sell cards and not admitting to it. They are sick of people playing overpowered energy decks that basically can't be beaten consistently in more than 57% of the time or whatever it was. And because of it, nobody could play with anything from Amonkhet, nobody could play with anything from Hour, nobody could play with anything from Ixalan, and I think actually Rivals would have given Energy a run for its money. But just to double down and absolutely make sure, instead of waiting to see, which wait and see is like their motto over there, so I'm actually surprised they banned anything at all, other than Red Rush. Red Rush, I think you could honestly say that's too fast for tribal buildup, because tribal buildup is very mid-speed. I mean, I know some of them can, under ideal circumstances, win on turn 5, but when you're just like, let's drop out 1 or 2 more permanents, okay, now triggers and this and that, okay, now let's get some more, now let's get some more. That's not like a turn 5 deck, typically. Now, even my dinosaur deck wins on turn 6 or 7 kind of often, so it honestly depends who goes first and how you count the turns. So he's saying, oh, they're destroying people's decks. You can no longer play energy and you can no longer play red. Oh, how insulting to the players. If I were them, I'd demand my money back from Wizards. And he just goes on and on and on, overreacting to this. Oh my god, did you look at what they banned, and did you look at the reasoning behind it, and what their intended strategy was, and any of the math or damage projections? Did you look at anything other than the ban announcement, for God's sake? You can still play these decks and they'll still win. They're still tier 1. I mean, you could say they're like tier 0.8 and now they're 1. Like, they were very, very, very difficult to consistently beat. So now they're back down to the level of every other deck. So they're still in like an 8-way tie now for the best tier 1 deck. I mean, Energy lost almost nothing. It's just, I mean, yeah, color fixing, and it's like, okay, certain games, the colors are just going to backfire and blow up in your face, and you just outright lose. It's not like they just tweaked 2 damage off of a card or something. You might have to rebuild your deck to be 2 color, but for sure 4 colors drop into 3, for sure. So you lost a couple cards, you got to rearrange it. Okay, but the deck isn't dead, okay? If you banned Approach of the Second Sun, the Approach deck is dead, okay? Rest in peace. If you got rid of God Pharaoh's Gift, that deck, what the hell is left in the deck? Nothing. What would you do? Make it a Gear Hulk deck? Maybe? Actually, I'd like to see that. That actually sounds kind of fun, a Gear Hulk Resurrection deck. That should be kind of neat. Hey, you could actually chain the Refurbished together with the Torrential. Oh boy, nobody build that. That sounds terrible. So I guess he's completely missing the fact that you can completely and utterly still play these decks and at a highly competitive level, okay? Unless something just horribly oppressive comes out. Merfolk, excuse me, I had something in my throat. It's still the best deck you can build. Instead of just, oh, your choices are red or energy. That's it. Play one of the 2. If you play anything else, you have a 5% disadvantage. Just simple as that. And those are like the real numbers. You play mono white Vampire Flood with, Kitten Dump with Oketras, and you stand a couple % chance likelihood less that you'll win. Just simple as that. you stand a pretty good chance of winning. It's almost as good, but it just was a little tiny step down from those two decks. Well, now that they've been powered down just the tiniest little bit, especially Red lost barely anything. It just gained an answer and lost 2 damage. That's it. Considering if you're running 4 of that desert, it's only going to show up in 45% of your games, 45 to 55% of your games, depending upon how many turns you take and how many cards you draw, then you're actually losing 1 damage on average. It's just 1 damage, and you probably weren't playing with the damn Ferocidon anyway, and there's replacements for it, so you really didn't lose anything. It just pushed you from a turn 4 or turn 5 win to like a little tiny bit of a chance for an extra turn to be in there to give people a little bit of a window. And if people are playing life gain, you probably should lose to them because you're playing Red Rush. So, there you go. You added 1 little weakness, very specific, and lost almost nothing. So now instead of a 2-way tie for first place with some other good decks around it, it's like an 8 or 9-way tie for first place. You're still in first place. So people, not just lying, I've heard this from everywhere. Stop acting like the decks are dead and buried. People are still going to show up with it. They're just going to win a little bit less, which is exactly what Wizards was going for. And mathematically, that's exactly what we can expect to happen. So whatever you prefer, if you want to use your hands, if you want to go get a bra, whatever's going to work for you, you need to calm your tits, everybody. So what other stupidity have I heard? It's too early. We should have saw what happened with Rivals. With Red, no. Red Rush is too fast for Tribal. With Energy, yeah. I think that pretty much all 4 tribes in Ixalan can beat Energy. I think it just would have died on its own, but people are so fed up with its consistency that it would be, even if it dropped to like a couple percent lower and it was like a tier 1.5, people are just sick of playing against it. So that is kind of valid, but I don't know. There just wasn't a way to stop Red Rush, and now there is. So that one deserved it. Energy, it's hard to argue with the absolute just shocking levels of color consistency and energy creation consistency in that deck. But I just feel like Merfolk and Dinosaurs and Vampires are better and faster. I mean, they like white mono vampires and red solo aggro were both competing with it at a tournament level. They were a step behind, and now there's double the vampires to choose from. I mean, I would have let that one go. I would have seen what would have happened. But then again, I am so sick of energy decks that, okay. And they said one of the factors was how long it's been dominant, which they're saying 5+ months. Now, if you're pissed off by that thing, which is almost the only legitimate reason they have right now, yeah, I get you on that one. They made it, instead of a 18-month rotation, it's 24. They changed it and then changed it back because people whined about it. And I mean, now they're trying to say, oh, if your cards are popular for more than 5 months, we're going to ban it. And that really does indicate, I mean, what's the logic here? Oh, people are sick of seeing it and sick of playing against it. When have they ever given a crap? Have they seen Modern? I'm sick of playing against any of that crap. 6.5 years people have been sick of playing against crap like Affinity, okay? They don't seem to give a crap. Then again, rotating versus non-rotating. So, everything has a different way of looking at it. But please, people, stop spreading this alarmist, just uninformed stupidity. I don't even know what else to call it. Just stop being stupid. This ban was appropriate. It was needed. It was very, very, very slight. It was the slightest little tiny tweak. They didn't destroy any decks. They didn't really destroy any value. They didn't really do anything that anybody has merits to be, like complaining about. Even net deckers they're like, I have to change it now. So swap out 4 cards and shut the hell up. My God. Oh no, you have to think of a way to mod a deck instead of copying somebody else's work. Newsflash, there's probably a revised version of Ramunap Red and a revised version of Teamer Energy on the internet right now. Go look it up, you lazy, win-addicted douchebag. So in case I didn't reiterate this last point enough earlier, we're all going to die, okay? Merfolk is going to ruin Standard. None of our decks stand a chance in hell. Merfolk is going to murder all of humankind, and this is the end of society as we know it. So it really doesn't matter if they banned anything or didn't, because Merfolk are unstoppable. Non-interactive creatures that can't be blocked and can't be targeted, what the hell do you do about that? And whatever you just answered, negate. Blue has counter spells, remember? There is literally no way to beat Merfolk other than Speed Rush, and they just crippled Speed Rush. So good luck with that. If you think you're complaining about the state of Standard now because, oh, they ruined my perfect deck, even though they didn't ruin your deck and you can keep playing it, just wait for Merfolk. Just wait for that. You'll be really feeling like you overreacted to this once you see what Merfolk does to the Standard meta. Or just log on to X-Mage and look at it right now because it's an unplayable hellhole. Speaking of that, I might jump on X-Mage and stream my new deck, which specializes in killing Merfolk, because that's fun to me. Hashtag dump radioactive waste into the Ixalan rivers until all the Merfolk are dead and then dance on their graves. If anybody types that below, I will send you Nala in the mail. That's Fireman's adorable golden retriever in case you don't support me on Patreon, where I post pictures of her all the time. I mean, at this point, I might as well just move into Fireman's house because, like, I love Nala more than, like, his own family. So thanks for watching. Everybody calm the hell down, and I'll see you guys next live stream.